there a bit of science around if you're struggling to get back to sleep, get up, do something, sort of break that pattern, and then go back to bed, and you generally fall asleep better?
Absolutely. In fact, what we recommend, and particularly people with insomnia or that where you're lying there and thinking and don't have a clock in the room, so you're not sort of obsessing of I've only got 2 hours to go sort of thing. But get up and sit on the side of the bed. Don't reach for your phone. Don't turn any lights on, so you're not getting that wake-up stimulus. After about 10 minutes, climb back into bed, and then often you can fall asleep quicker because you've broken that sort of cycle.
Good pattern. So I'll keep testing that strategy from time to time. But I guess just as we sort of near the end of the podcast, we've covered a lot of really valuable stuff, and I think there's some good sort of simple takeaways, which is awesome. But I mean, I think for some people to take action, often it's maybe the ill health or issues in that regard. Other people, they take action because they're incentivized by incremental improvement and performance and all that sort of stuff. But how would you sort of sell the importance or compel people to sort of take some action around, taking stock of some of the things we've talked about today?
One thing I find is that people don't seem to think sleep's important. I usually get asked more, how can I sleep less rather than more? But if you look at your sleep, like I said, you wake up, you're feeling good, you're active, you can concentrate better, focus, you can get through the day without struggling, and it's good for your health, and it helps you to stay healthy because you feel like exercising more, and in conjunction with healthy diet and the exercise, sleep is sort of the other piece of that puzzle that helps us to stay healthy, but also helps us to stay safe.
Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like a pivotal aspect. There's the exercise and nutrition, and then the sleep is sort of maybe those, three key pillars that sort of tie together. And intrinsically, I guess we're designed to get that, a third of our 24-hour cycle, asleep, recharging, re-energizing, repairing. And if it's not wider cognitive performance, then it's maybe it can help with wider health, if not disease, longevity, wellness in general, if not, the catastrophic impacts of fatigue when operating machineries or doing a job. So big incentive to get it right and a lot of upside there. And really, I think some of the things you talked about today are pretty elementary things we can do to maybe experiment and try to get better outcomes in terms of our wider sort of wellness and health and sort of sleep that we're getting. So I think there's nothing sort of overly complicated about the tips or tricks you've given us here today, which is great.
Oh, good. And yeah, like I said, it seems to touch every aspect of your life, like I said, your health and your safety and, quality time spending with family as well.
Absolutely. And I guess that all ties into wider wellness, but I think the other thing that so many people are struggling with at the moment is that mental health piece. So I think it's clearly a big contributor in terms of that whole mental headspace and wellness on that sort of side of it. So there's a range of reasons why people should make a bit more of a priority around that. And I think generally wider fitness is prescriptive, right? I go for a run, I go to the gym, I eat the right food and all the rest of it. I think often, people would see sleep as being less prescriptive, but I think you've given us a bit of a list of things we can do to get a better outcome on that side of it. And in this day and age of Garmin's or iWatches or Whoops or Oura Rings or whatever you want to use, at least there's a bit of consciousness and a little bit of data. It might not be as accurate as what you get out of the lab to give you that indication further to how you feel around how you're sleeping.
Oh, definitely. And then anything that gets people thinking about their sleep and, thinking about trying to have healthier sleep habits, I think is great.
Amy, I'm really keen to sort of understand your view on the benefits or not around the power nap. I'm not a practicer of the power nap. I know other people are. They talk about that sweet spot of 20 minutes or somewhere thereabouts. So you're an expert. Can you share with us whether or not this is true or a fallacy?
No, definitely true. Power naps are great. You need to look at when you're having them, so you don't have them too close to your normal bedtime. Sort of when we awake during the day, we build up sleep need or sleep debt, and we need to pay it off when we sleep. With that nap, we're paying off a little bit of that sleep debt that helps us push through, say, the rest of the afternoon, or if we nap before we go to work on night shift, we've paid off a bit of that sleep debt and we can push through further on the night. If we look at our sleep cycles, they generally last for about 90 minutes. And the first part of it is sort of a lighter stage of sleep before we get right down in that really deep sleep. If we nap for 15, 20 minutes or so, we don't get right into that deep sleep. So we've paid off a bit of the sleep debt. We can wake up a bit easier. We don't feel, too sort of groggy afterwards. But we've got all the benefits then afterwards. When we do wake up from a nap or a longer sleep, there's a thing called sleep inertia. And we think it's the brain just slowly waking up. But during that time, your performance is lower, you're not thinking properly, you're feeling a bit groggy. So after you've had a nap, you need to give yourself, say, 5-10 minutes or so to wake up from that nap, get rid of that sleep inertia, and then you're good to go.
Okay, fantastic. Oh, it sounds like a good strategy to employ, and there's benefits, and it doesn't sound like providing it's not done too close to the normal bedtime, there's no compromise on what your normal sleep will look like following that.
Exactly. And I mean, if you look in Spain, so they have siestas, after lunch, there is that increase in sleepiness that we have in, the afternoon up until about 2 o'clock, perfect time for a nap.
It might be, and I'm particularly interested because this is what I do. I don't know if there's any benefit or not, but, based on the brainwaves that you produce when you're mindful or meditating, what does that do to sleep, the impact on that? Because my routine, talking about my bedtime routine, is I meditate for 15-20 minutes, then I do a gratefulness exercise, so I quote 3 things I'm grateful for that day and 1 thing I'm looking forward to, and then it's sort of lights out. That's my routine. Meditate, gratefulness, and sleep, and that's sort of routine. So and Matt, we'll ask this and we'll see what flows. So I'm personally a meditator. I do meditation before bed. Part of it's my routine around sort of unwinding and slowing down. I've looked a little bit into, I guess, the science of meditation and mindfulness and the brain waves that you produce when you're in that state. So does meditation or mindfulness have any impact on the quality of sleep you have, or as a sleep replacement? So you might not have the 20-minute power nap, but you might meditate for 15 or 20 minutes. Are you repaying any of that sleep debt doing that as opposed to a power nap? So a couple of questions within that question.
So, I think meditation for people that can do it, it's all part of that relaxing, getting your brain to switch off, get into that sleep mode, and it can help sort of transition you into that and help you to fall asleep quicker. It doesn't replace a nap. One thing is that the only thing that replaces sleep that we lose is sleep. But having some sort of downtime, some rest can help with, I said, get some balance. And like I said, it's part of that nighttime routine, getting our brain prepped for sleeping so that we then fall asleep quicker, go into, our sleep patterns easier.
Gotcha. Okay, so it can be a good sort of supplement towards getting towards that good sleep. Certainly not a replacement, but a good in terms of that wider, I guess, relaxation, stress management, that sort of thing. But maybe it's a precursor to a good night's sleep. That could be beneficial.
Definitely.